Good evening.
How are you all?
We watched a movie
A movie.
this week.
And don't think that we don't like it, because it was an experience.
Yes, we say a movie pause because it's the kind of movie that gives you pause at the end of it.
Makes you think.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw this on Friday night, and it's now the Tuesday night.
Yeah, we haven't stopped talking about it.
It is a film that it crawls underneath your skin.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. Which movie are we talking about?
We are talking about The Substance by Coralie
Fargeat.
Fargeat.
Yes.
Starring DEMI MOORE, Margaret Qualley, and Dennis Quaid.
All who absolutely knock it out of the park in this movie.
It's okay. We're just going to play a trailer teaser, sort of like to get you in the mood. So we'll do that now.
Yep.
Have you ever dreamt of a better version of yourself? Younger, more beautiful, more perfect.
Pretty girls should always smile.
Okay. So we know it looks strange, guys. We know, and it is strange
It is incredibly strange.
and beautiful
That's the reason you should go and see this movie.
at the cinema. Don't wait for downloads, the streaming and all that. Just
Yeah, no,
really, you need to see it with an audience.
Yeah, you absolutely have to see it with an audience and see it on the big screen because
It's an experience.
the body horror alone in this movie is
Frank Henenlotter would have a stroke.
Cronenberg-esque.
Have you seen Basket Case?
I don't think so.
Okay, it's like Stuart Gordon, like From Beyond, Society, all that kind. She still hasn't seen Society. Wait till she gets to the shunting, and it's. I mean, if you were to liken it to any one type of filmmaker, you can't,
No.
because this
No.
this is a truly unique vision.
Yeah.
Uh,
There are notes to a lot of filmmakers in this, but the nods are not gratuitous at all. They're very carefully realised and very clever.
Very to the point. To the set design is just I almost screamed. I mean, I'm a De Palma nut. Like,
Yep.
I'm devoted, and the apartment in the film. This is no spoiler. It looked exactly like I had a Body Double, and we'd only seen Body Double
Yep.
a few weeks ago again. And every time I watch that movie, it's going up and up. And the apartment it looks identical to that.
And when you realise what this movie's about, if that is the choice that was made,
It's on purpose.
it's clearly on purpose. But
Yeah.
there were Kubrickian nods, there were Cronenberg nods,
Lynchian
nods
Yeah.
to this movie. Yeah.
and Henenlotter,
Yeah.
Stuart Gordon. But I think the strongest part of this movie is that it could only ever been directed by a female director.
Absolutely.
I
Yep.
applaud you, because Coralie, you have single-handedly this year made all the other films that we've watched, and we've watched some good films this year, look like they're almost amateur hour.
Yeah.
Like,
This is a very divisive movie, and I can see why.
in a good way.
Yeah,
In a very good
in a
way.
very good way.
What's the plot? What would you like, without spoiling too much?
Okay, this is a movie about a woman,
Elizabeth Sparkle.
Elizabeth Sparkle. She's a aerobics fitness celebrity who has sort of gone beyond her prime. She's reached what they call beyond the peak of what you can be as a female celebrity before they kick you to the curb and replace you with an older model. And pretty much that's what happens. She has a TV show as an aerobics instructor, and she's informed by her boss, played by Dennis Quaid, who we'll get to Dennis Quaid in a minute, but he's wonderful in this. Is informed that she doesn't have a job anymore, and they're going to replace her with a younger model.
But they don't know who yet.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like,
Quite understandably, she doesn't like that.
we're going to replace you, but we don't know with who.
Because
Sucks.
And this is why this movie is so brilliant, because despite the fact that Elizabeth Sparkle is, what Hollywood would consider beyond her prime.
52.
She's
in
52,
the film.
played by 61-year-old DEMI Moore, who is objectively beautiful at 61.
More so than she was at 45.
Oh my God, she's gorgeous in this movie.
Parts of this movie.
Yeah, parts of this movie. It is ridiculous that they're going to replace her, but also inevitable. And because of that, Elizabeth is given a choice.
She goes to I can't remember actually why she goes to the doctor, but she goes to a doctor.
She gets in a car accident.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh
Yeah.
God, that was amazing. Anyway, yeah. Damn, it's a spoiler, but that's okay. And she gets this. The attendant says to her, or the nurse says to her,
You're a good candidate.
Yeah, and basically gives her a card, and she's still in a shock. She's in a daze. She doesn't think anything of it until
she loses her job and then realizes she's got nowhere to go. What is she going to do? So she
gets the USB and plugs it in
she
the telly.
she finds out what all of this is about, and it is about the substance. And the substance, it doesn't really tell you exactly what it is.
The first shot of the film is an egg yolk.
Yes.
And the substance gets injected into the egg yolk and it splits in two.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, you know that this stuff will biologically change whatever it goes into.
Yeah. So we know there's probably some kind of cloning thing going on. We learn that what the substance actually does, it does clone you. It creates a younger, better version of you that is intrinsically a part of you.
But not you.
But not you. But Elizabeth decides this is a thing she wants to do, and
we're being very careful here.
Yeah.
About
She injects herself with the substance,
activate only once.
and she essentially gives birth to a younger, firmer version of herself
Called Sue.
called Sue.
Sue. And she actually, as she was saying her name
Yep.
in the film, it's like she went Sue, as in
Sue.
TSU.
Yeah.
And I was like thinking,
Sue.
and I was thinking, is this an inflection? Is it supposed to be like Sue or Sue? Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be an inflection.
Yeah, and I was loving it because I was thinking, this is another weird angle that we've got in this film, and it's like watching a Japanese horror film.
Yeah.
I have no cultural touchstone in this, and it's freaking me out, and I love it.
Yeah. The way she gives birth to her second self, though, and this is a spoiler, but it's not because it's all over the internet now.
And it's on the poster.
Yeah. She gives birth to this second self through her back. Her back splits open and this new self emerges.
Yeah. Oh, that guy next to me in the cinema, he was freaking out at that point. It was,
This
is
is why you have to see this movie with other people, because literally the entire movie was filled with people going, oh.
We got late tickets, and the only two seats left were in the front row, dead center.
What just happened?
And this guy next to me was doing this, and I was pissing myself because we see everything.
The movie 110% better.
We watch the grossest stuff you could imagine. We're desensitized.
Yeah.
Sorry, mum and dad. But this film has the most upsetting body horror I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I've seen stuff, and I was laughing and lapping it up because it's meant to be taken not as a parody, but as like
I think it's a little bit of a parody though.
but the gore
Yeah.
it's meant to be so extreme that it's like you can't help but laugh.
Yeah, it's a bit Paul Verhoeven-esque.
It doesn't care.
There's a hint of satire in here where we're
more than a hint.
we're looking at how we view women as they age in Hollywood, and we're viewing the patriarchy and all of that, but there is a satirical lens in here, and if you don't understand that when you go in and watch this movie, you may not like it because
it'll offend you.
Yeah, there are elements to this movie that are over the top and grotesque and may be offensive to some viewers. That's why we liked it.
Yeah, I will actually say I loved it.
Yep,
because
we did love it.
as what do they call it? CIS male. I sat there and I was like, yes, like really rooting for Elizabeth and Sue.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if as a guy, if you don't see how crap we treat women in every single aspect of life, then you're a piece of crap. Sorry to say it, guys, but take stock of yourself. And the way that they portray men in this film by Dennis Quaid primarily is so spot on.
It's unflinching.
I'm so
in the
shocked.
way he dresses, the way he acts,
the way he
smokes and eats food.
It's grotesque.
He's a disgusting, grotesque pig in every scene, and they close in on it. They don't shy away from it.
And he's not self-realized.
No, he's not.
He's completely wrapped up in his world, and he doesn't. He at no time is he self-aware.
Yeah.
And it's so great to see Dennis Quaid, who, politics aside and all that kind of stuff, is a person that has been very divisive in his private life, and to see him embrace the bad characteristics of a male and himself and just let loose. I was just applauding him because it's like it takes some real courage.
And I think if you juxtapose his character against how women are portrayed in the media in general, like we've got this character here who can wear whatever he wants, whether it be bright, garish, whatever. He can smoke, he can drink
inside and everything.
He can eat whatever he wants. He can eat like a pig and get food all over himself, and no one says anything. If a woman did that, it would be all over.
I mean, Demi Moore used to get criticised for smoking, and she'll get the lines on her mouth.
And I think that's why Demi Moore might be the best casting choice for this movie, because she did go through all of that. I remember when she was cast in Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, and she was only in her
40s,
early 40s at the time, and how
welcome back. Yeah,
how big of a deal it was that she looked toned and hot in her early 40s. As a woman in her early 40s, I find that highly offensive.
I mean, I remember that, and but I wasn't aware of the controversy of it. Being a guy, I wasn't like, it's Demi Moore. She's in a movie,
and that wasn't the beginning of what she's had to go through. From
it's terrible.
From being pregnant on the cover of Vogue, and having breast implants and gaining weight, losing weight, having a masculine role in G.I. Jane,
shaving
being
her
naked
head
in striptease, all of these things. She is
the prime person.
That woman who has literally gone through the ringer throughout her entire career.
And it's not fair.
Yeah.
It's not fair. I mean, and you look at, I mean, God bless Bruce Willis with what he's going through. It's tragic. But you look at his career, and they were husband and wife.
Yeah.
And you look at him as he was getting older. He lost his hair. He had all that. But he was getting more roles and more recognition and things like that. Sixth Sense, he
right.
like, oh, Bruce is an actual actor,
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. Unbreakable, my favorite superhero origin movie.
Yeah.
It's like you see his career, and he got older, he got more accolades, and I mean, now we know what's happened now, but Demi was getting less roles.
Yeah.
And less accolades, and to the point where they were so shocked at 42 or 43 that she was in such great shape and all that. It's like such bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean...
And I imagine, unfortunately, it'll probably be very similar now with the substance. It's going to be a lot of, oh, she's so brave for being naked at 61. It's like, because she,
I mean, no spoilers. This film has more nudity than a Steel Panther concert. I was shocked, like genuinely shocked at the bare nakedness of them, and in metaphorically and physically of her.
And she's absolutely gorgeous at 61, but she's not the only 61-year-old who is gorgeous.
Yes, exactly.
When they take their clothes off.
And, well, I don't know about that, but yeah. But we haven't mentioned Margaret Qualley.
Yes.
The Sue, she plays Sue, the younger clone of her. And the tragedy of the story is the fact that she feels like she has to do this, and she gives birth to this clone, which there are caveats that they have to stick to. You don't get any of the experiences or sensations or memories of the clone. You can live vicariously through them, but you aren't them. They are another version of you.
It's a very interesting choice, and it's probably the one part of the movie that I don't necessarily gel with, because to me, if you can't experience what the younger self is experiencing, then why do it in the first place?
But I think that's a choice. I think that's a definite choice.
There are other elements to the movie, which we won't go into because we don't want to spoil them.
You can't.
That you kind of actually had to do it that way to get to the other points in the movie.
It's important that that there are not signposts, but points. Yeah. Cause and effects.
And even if those things weren't there that you had to get to, there is so much that is absolutely brilliant about this movie that even if you can't get on board with the fact that the clone and the original don't get to experience each other's lives
or each other,
then it's still crazy good. Just the entire concept.
I mean,
I haven't seen body horror this good since The Fly.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen a lot of like Stuart Gordon's and Helen Lotters and all those guys. So I've seen some shit, man. But this is
visceral. This
is tactile.
Yeah.
It's like that's the whole reason why the audience was freaking out, because it's like you feel every single thing that's happening. I mean, there's a scene with a breast that just freaked me the Christ out. I was like, I'm a guy, red-blooded. And I was like, oh, it was just so uncomfortable. And it's so good that I was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
If anything, the takeaway from this is that if it makes a man uncomfortable, well, you got to look at yourself. And why are you uncomfortable? I mean, I was digging the film though. I mean, I got what it was, the message, but many men won't.
No. Aside from the clone thing, probably the only other critique I have for this movie is the ending. I think not that it was a bad ending, actually. It's an in-your-face ending. It's great, but the movie is a little bit on the long side. It probably could have been tightened up a little bit.
10 minutes maybe.
10, 15 minutes. And I think the very end of the movie, because, I mean, it is an in-your-face movie, but it's not this is what we're trying to say.
There's no preaching.
There's no preaching, but the last bit of the movie, it gets a little bit preachy. It gets a little bit, this is what we're trying to tell you. Do you get it? Do you get it? And it's
on the nose.
It is a bit on the nose, and it didn't need it. We got it a long time ago.
I mean,
I can see why they did it. It's for the audiences that
need
you
it
know,
spelled out to them.
Yeah, that need it spelled out to them.
The lowest common denominator
Yep.
audience,
Yep.
which is fine because
but
we
those
know
are the kind of people that are probably not going to like this movie anyway.
they'll turn it off.
Yeah.
Alicia didn't like the ending. I actually thought it was brilliant
Hmm.
because I'm a big fan of going for that extra margin, going for that extra, like, oh, this, you think we're here? We're now up here. And that to me was like going that extra distance in it. I loved it. I loved this film. I thought it was, probably it was the best cinematic experience I've had all year. And we've seen a lot of films at
Don't
the
get
cinema.
me wrong. Critiques aside, I still think it's one of the best things I've seen all year. And I actually feel like it's going to be one of those weird divisive films that in 10, 15 years' time is going to become a weird cult classic that people see at night and go, oh, I actually get what they were trying to say.
Let's
now.
go to the movies and see it because it's playing again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
It'll be one of those.
Yeah. And I hope it becomes a midnight movie
Yep.
because it definitely deserves it.
Yeah.
And for me, I know it's not going to happen because they are the people in the movie. I want DEMI Moore to get an Academy Award for this movie. And I
Yeah.
want Dennis Quaid to get an Academy Award and Margaret Qualley.
Yeah.
And Coralie has to get some kind of award, either it's writing or directing. She has to be
I
nominated.
look forward to whatever the hell she's doing
She
next
did
because
Revenge, I think, was her first film.
yeah, which we haven't seen yet, which we will see
It's
because we've seen the substance.
high on that list now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So what would you give this movie out of 10?
9.5.
I agree, 9.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally that. Even with my critiques, that's the rest of this movie is that good. Even with the critiques, you'd still have to give it a 9.5 just for being so innovative, so luscious.
We can't
it's
stop
also a
talking-
very well filmed movie.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't stop talking about it. And
Yeah.
for a film to have that kind of effect 4 days after we've seen it
Yeah.
at the cinema, I mean,
Tip your cap to that.
yeah, because we generally see a movie and we don't forget about it, but we don't, like, we'll talk about it at the time
Yeah.
and then that's it.
Yeah.
Like, we might a couple of months later say, oh, yeah, remember that film? And that. But this is a talking point which hasn't gone away.
Yeah, this one has grown on me as the days have gone by. When the movie finished, I literally went, oh, God, I need to think about that.
Yeah, she was undecided whether or not she liked it or not.
Yeah, wow, what just happened? That was a movie. But I slept on it and you know, as the days have gone by, every day that goes by, I like this movie more.
Yeah,
And I'm sure I will love it even more on a second viewing.
it's like my second viewing of Longlegs.
Mm.
I like Sorry Late Night with the Devil, but Longlegs went to the top of my list.
Yeah.
And this, I'm thinking it's on par at the moment
It's a
with Late
similar
Night with the
kind of
Devil.
movie in the type of care that was taken into the
Absolutely.
production of it.
Yep.
Um,
And a completely different style.
Yeah.
Like it's completely
yes,
stylistically
don't go
different.
see Long Legs and expect the substance and vice versa. They are different movies.
Wouldn't you love to see that on a double bill?
I totally would now that
Yeah.
you think about it. But
Actually, you know what
different
film?
movies.
The film I actually would like to see with this is Strange Darling. This and Strange Darling would make a really good comparable piece because the way they treat men and women.
True. Yes.
Yes, but we'll talk
anyway.
about that one later.
That's for another night.
Yes. So
Tonight we should say go see The Substance while it's in cinemas with other people.
don't take the substance.
Don't.
Don't do it. You're beautiful as you are.
That's right.
Yes. So for me, stay hydrated in those 7 days.
And remember, leggings are not pants. Whether you're old, young, doesn't matter.
What about
Leggings are
aerobics?
No.
Because
No.
they did aerobics and then they had
Okay,
leggings.
maybe in aerobics.
We got
Maybe
it.
in workout.
We got it the first time.
I'll let you have it for that.
Okay. Good night.